Welcome to Trial of the Hollywood Sex Therapist Killer, the harrowing and tragic story of Dr. Amie Harwick, who met a tragic end when she was allegedly thrown off her third-floor balcony by her stalker and ex-boyfriend, Gareth Pursehouse. Found clinging to life, but later succumbing to her injuries, Amie's death has raised many questions, with answers to be revealed in court. Join us as we dive deep into the ongoing trial of Gareth Pursehouse, the man accused of this heinous act, and as we seek justice for Amie.
And just briefly, if you would, so we'll call you back in just a few minutes. And you are calling whom? Brief with us.
Detective Fretlord.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we normally take a break at 11 because I brought you in late. Unless you guys need a break. Anybody need a break? Okay. Okay. The restrooms are back here if you need to go. All right.
I haven't talked to him yet, Your Honor, about the...
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll get it straightened out. All right. Detective, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you can approach the witness stand, please. Raise your right hand.
You solemnly state that the testimony you're about to give and the trial now pending before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. Please have a seat. Please state and spell both your first and last name.
It's Herman Fretlor. Herman is spelled H-E-R-M-A-N. Fretlor, F-R-E-T-T-L-O-H-R.
All right. Counsel.
Thank you, Robert. What is your occupation and assignment?
I am a homicide detective for the Los Angeles Police Department.
And how long have you been a sworn peace officer?
For 29 years.
Now, on February 15th, 2020, were you at the location of 8148 Cabora Drive in the city of Playa del Rey?
Yes.
Why were you there on that date and time?
We were serving a search warrant, and I was one of the searching officers.
And was that at around 7:30 p.m.?
Yes.
Now, during that search, did you find any items that you recovered?
Yes.
And what items were those?
There was a computer that was in a cabinet on the west wall of the living room.
And was that booked in as item number 16?
Yes.
And this was in the kitchen at the location of the address I just mentioned?
I'm sorry, what was the last question?
This computer was located in the kitchen of the address I just mentioned on Cabora?
No, it was in the living room.
I'm sorry, I apologize. The living room?
Yes.
Now, did you book that into evidence as item number 16 under DR number 2006062220?
Detective Vinton did.
But you were the person that actually recovered that computer?
I pulled it out of the wall and I gave it to him, and he booked it.
Now,
Back to that last part is part for speculation.
You pulled it out of the wall and then you gave it to him?
Yes.
What's the speculation?
Then he booked it. Detective Vinton.
Were you there when he booked it?
No.
Okay, so you handed it to him. You handed it to him?
Yes, I did.
Okay, we'll take it from that. I'll sustain that.
Okay,
Are
let's
you-
strike that?
Yes. Yeah.
was Detective Vinton with you during a search of this location?
Yes.
Was he the detective responsible for booking all of the items that was recovered from that location?
Yes.
And one of the items that was recovered was, in fact, that computer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, did you also speak to somebody by the name of Angeli on February 15th of that date?
Yes.
And where is it that you spoke to her?
We spoke in our police vehicle, giving her a ride home.
And who's we?
Detective Vinton and I?
And you were giving her a ride home, you said?
Yes.
And that conversation as you were driving was recorded?
It was.
Now, when you spoke to her, did you talk to her about what she did with someone by the name of Gareth Pursehouse in the hours prior to you taking her home?
Yes.
And during that conversation, did you ask her in regards to whether she observed any injuries on Gareth Pursehouse?
I did not.
And who asked her?
Detective Vinton did.
Were you present when he asked her?
Yes.
Did you hear her response?
Yes.
And what was her response?
She said she saw him with a black eye.
Your Honor, at this time, the people have a CD. May that be marked as people's next in order?
You are at 104. You said it's a CD?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
And the accompanying transcript, which should be 104.
A, yes.
May I approach for one with for the court?
Yes.
Can I get one, please?
Yes. Now that everybody has a copy, I'm going to play a small snippet. It's only a few seconds.
The injuries on him today? Okay. And when you showed up, when you showed up, he was obviously wearing clothes, right? Did he have the same clothes on that he had on when he got stopped at the police? Or did he change clothes in the house?
Now, did you hear the entirety of that recording, Detective?
I did.
Now, after Angelique provides to you that she observed that the defendant had a black eye, could you understand what it is that she said thereafter?
Not on this recording because it was her voice was very light on it, but I did listen to the entirety of this interview earlier today, and I did make it out, yes.
Okay, and what is it that she said immediately after saying that she observed the defendant had a black eye?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the last part of Detective Fretmore's answer. Could I have that?
Can you read it back, please?
Answer, no, not in this recording because it was her voice was very light on it. But I did listen to the entirety of this interview earlier today, and I did make it out, yes.
So I'm going to object to the detective telling us something he heard on a recording that is not of the same quality being played before this jury.
Is it the same recording that we're listening to now that you heard it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, this recording speaks for itself.
Well, I don't know that he knows it's the same recording because
He says it is.
Sir, he said, was it better? Well, then let me take the witness on voir dire, please, because then I can understand.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So, Detective Fretmore, today you said before coming to court you were provided with a recording to listen to,
Yes.
And it was a recording provided to you by who?
By the counsel here.
And
by the
we're
prosecution.
okay. The same attorney who's questioning you.
Yes.
Okay. And when you were listening to that, where were you?
In my office, at my computer, with my headphones.
So something was emailed to you,
Yes.
and you listened with headphones.
Yes.
And did you prepare any notes of that?
No.
Did you provide anything to the prosecution this morning telling them that you listened to this recording today and had reached a determination as to what you heard?
I did.
You want to make me approach?
Was that made orally or in writing?
It was an email. It was an email?
It was an email you sent?
Yes.
Yes, okay. All right, yes.
Thank you. So, Detective Fretmore, you indicated that you received a video file or an audio file from the Deputy District Attorney in your office via email.
Yes.
And that you listened to it with headphones.
I did.
And then after you listened to it with headphones, you sent an email to the Deputy District Attorney telling her what you heard.
I sent her an email inquiring about listening to a portion of the email that they were inquiring about regarding the black eye, and that I had listened to it. And then I asked her if they anticipated asking any additional questions regarding the statement.
And did you tell the Deputy District Attorney that you heard what? Did you tell the Deputy District Attorney in that email what you heard on that audio recording?
I'd have to look at the email. I don't. Think
Do you have it with you?
I do.
Could you take a look?
Thank you, Your Honor. No, I just asked her if that I listened to the part regarding the black eye, and I was asking if they anticipated any other questions regarding the statement.
When did you tell Deputy District Attorney Moreno that you heard whatever it is you're going to say you heard? When did you report to the Deputy District Attorney what your impressions were of what you heard on that audio recording?
He just stated that that's what you provided. That's the extent of it. Is that correct?
Yes.
You didn't state anything further, because earlier I was under the impression, I think counsel was as well, that when you listened to the recording with the earphones, you could make out what it said.
Correct.
And that you then relayed that or conveyed it to the DA.
Yes.
But you did not.
Not in
looking at your email.
Not in the email. No.
When did you?
In the hallway.
What, here, outside of court
Yes.
today?
Yes.
May we approach?
Yeah, you did that orally?
Yes.
Okay. People, you're still on course of resting on Monday, you think?
Monday, early Tuesday.
Okay. All right. Good. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Without telling us what you were able to specifically hear on your own independent hearing of this recording outside of...
Well, I haven't heard the question.
It's testifying, it's not a question. It's assuming facts not in evidence that this witness heard something.
Well, he's already stated he had.
Well,
The court stated that the tape speaks for itself. It's not on the tape. The tape speaks for itself. So she's basically admonishing him without advising us what he may have heard. Well, finish your question.
Thank you, Your Honor. Without telling us what it is that you heard when you independently listened to this recording with your headphones in your office with better quality, are you able to determine whether or not, based on your hearing today in court, whether Angelique stated that she did not ask the defendant how she received her black eye? I'm sorry, his black eye. How he received his black eye.
What's the objection?
Objection calls for speculation. Now, how is he supposed to know what he heard before he listened to the recording?
Well, I mean, do you have any independent recollection as you're sitting there talking to Miss is Angelina?
Angelique.
Angelique. Do you have any independent recollection regarding that issue?
Without having listened to the recording, no.
Okay, it stands like that. So, go ahead, go forward.
Based upon your review of the report and the recording, do you remember whether or not Angelique disclosed to you how the defendant received his black eye?
No.
Okay, I'll accept that answer.
Okay, yeah, okay. The answer is no. You want to accept that?
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay. Did you or Detective Vinton follow up with Angelique and ask her specifically whether she asked the defendant how he received that black eye?
No.
So no follow-up question was posed to Angelique after she revealed to you and Detective Vinton that he received the black eye?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Anything?
Very briefly.
Yes, go ahead.
Detective Bretlord, how long have you been a detective?
Since 2006, 17 years.
And how many homicide investigations have you investigated?
Personally, 72, and I've been involved in probably 300.
And were you the original detective who called out Detective Masterson to the property at 2086 Mount Street on the evening of this event in 2020?
Yes, I was. Yes, I was on call.
And you also were called out to 2086 Mound, and you were one of the investigators on this case. Is that correct?
I was the supervisor on the case.
So you were supervising this case?
Yes.
And in that capacity, did you sign as supervisor approving the closeout report prepared by Detective Masterson in this case? Would it refresh your recollection?
Most likely I did, but if I can look at it.
May I
yes, I'll
approach?
tell you.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Okay. And while I'm here, may I just ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you to review page 200, well, it's 283, but it's page 4 of 8 of this report. And the last paragraph, if you could
For
read
what
that.
purpose? Recollection, recall, what is a refresher? What?
Yes, to refresh his recollection regarding the interview of Angelique. I'd object to it.
Yeah, I don't think it's sufficiently established what the foundation is.
Okay.
Why
Well,
don't you
why don't
ask
you
the
hold it
question?
and I'll ask a question.
Okay.
So, Detective Fretlore, you approved of, you're still reading.
I am.
Okay. I think they want me to ask you a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So, you approved of the report containing a summary of your and Detective Vinton's interview of Angelique. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so, before you reviewed this, before you signed this closeout report, you reviewed it. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then, as part of your review, you would have reviewed that last paragraph that I pointed out to you on that page 4. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does that paragraph accurately reflect what occurred when you spoke with Angelique and Detective Vinton on February 15th, 2020?
I'm sure it's correct. It was 3 years and 7 months ago.
All right. And does that refresh your recollection as to what was said?
It does, and like I said earlier, the recording I listened to earlier this morning as well.
Okay. Well, based on this report, Angelique never told you or Detective Vinton that she asked, or that, let me rephrase that. Angelique never told you or Detective Vinton that she asked Mr. Pursehouse how he got the black eye.
She did not know how he had the black eye.
And she had reported to Detective Vinton and to you that she did not ask him how he received the black eye. Is that correct?
I believe is she did not know.
May I approach?
Yes.
Did you review Detective Vinton's report pertaining to the interview of Angelique?
I did.
And when you reviewed the report prepared by Detective Vinton, did you ask him to make any corrections to the report?
I did not.
Did you believe that his report was accurate when you reviewed it?
Yes.
Would it refresh your recollection to look at the report in regards to whether or not Angelique asked Mr. Pursehouse how he got the injury?
Objection asked and answered.
Sustained. I believe he's already answered him.
I believe his last answer was that she had not asked, that she,
And if that what you're about to show him shows something to the contrary, then I agree with you.
she did not ask.
Right.
That's what the report says.
Okay. Would you agree with that?
That's what's written, Your Honor, but I think...
Objection.
Okay, no, go ahead. You can answer.
But specifically, she said she didn't know.
But did she ask?
The only thing she said regarding the black eye was she didn't know.
Okay, but she never said, I never asked.
She never said that. No.
Okay. All right.
So, if
What was that again?
She never said that.
she said she didn't know how he got the injury.
No, regarding asking him, I think that's the quandary here, right? I mean,
Well,
you're
I think
asking
I
whether
understood
she
it.
asked him
I'm
or
sorry,
whether she knew.
I understood that, maybe I'm confused or a little unclear, that she never asked, she did not know how he got the injury, number one. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and she never asked him how he got the injury.
She never said that.
She never said that. That subject never came up.
Yeah, that's possibly
Okay.
an interpretation of what she said.
Okay.
I move to strike that last part as speculation. We've heard testimony from
All right,
Detective
let's
Vinton
go
yesterday,
ahead.
I'm going to,
and
Your Honor,
Hold on.
and I'm trying
can we have
to.
a sidebar?
I would like to be able to ask the question about the report. So
I
that-
understand. They have a right to approach sidebar like you all do.
We're going to try to clear up some confusion. So, Detective Fretlor, you had an opportunity to read Detective Vinton. We're going to try to clear up some confusion. So, Detective Fretlor, you had an opportunity to read Detective Vinton's report,
Yes.
and you did not ask him to make any corrections at the time that you reviewed it.
That's correct.
And that is because you did not find any inaccuracies in that report, correct?
That's correct.
All right. Do you need to have your recollection refreshed as to what this report actually says?
No, I read it.
All right. And the report does actually say that Angeline noticed Pursehouse had a black eye, but did not ask him what happened, correct?
That's what it says, yes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Any regret?
Yes. The report that counsel is referring to, who wrote it?
Detective Vinton.
Now, you indicated that it was a summary of the interview, is that correct?
Yes.
Even though you signed off on that report, whose interpretation of the conversation with Angeli is that? Your interpretation or Detective Vinton's interpretation?
Objection calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Detective Vinton's.
Now, based upon hearing the recording today, reviewing the report that Detective Vinton wrote, do you believe the statement to be inaccurate?
Objection, Your Honor.
Well, he's already stated that he believed, he was asked specifically about that paragraph by counsel just a few moments ago, and he said he believed it was accurate. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And when you say you believe it was accurate, do you believe it was an accurate interpretation by Detective Vinton?
Overruled.
It is.
Okay.
Thank you. Nothing
Stands.
further.
Okay. All right. Anything further? You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
One second.
Well, see, you should have gotten the whip.
It's trying.
All right.
Trying.
All right. Do you have another question?
I'm going to ask one last question, Your Honor. I'm going to approach with this report.
May I see this report?
Is it the same one you showed?
Yes.
Okay. The paragraph you showed.
I showed two reports.
Well, show it. Go ahead.
And I'm going to point to
You can't read it from there? Take a look at it. Okay. Let her
I'm a
see.
lot older, so
Okay.
no, I can't.
Thank you. You believe me? Okay. So here.
Your Honor, may we approach?
So it says,
Your Honor, that's the second time today.
No.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to object to counsel testifying a second time.
All right. Listen, this approaching business is the court is going to intervene and it's going to deny approaching. I'll allow it this time around. Let's approach one more time. You like that, huh?
Your Honor, may I re-approach a witness, please?
Yes.
I'll show you a highlighted portion of the statement.
Yes.
Now, there is a statement in regards that is in contention about whether or not Miss Angeli was asked, or Miss Angeli asked the defendant whether she asked how the defendant got the black eye.
That's correct.
Is that correct? Now, based upon the review of the report as well as the recording, did she state that? That
Okay.
she did not ask.
And that subject has been broached, and this witness has already answered to the best of your ability. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so let's move on from there.
Can you
It
just
is-
answer the question? That's the only question that people have.
No, I know it was the only question. It's been posed 3 times. So I'm gonna, you don't have to answer that. So let's move on if you would. All right?
Now, based upon the report of Detective Vinton, do you agree with the statement that he stated he did not ask him? She did not ask him what happened.
I object to this calls for speculation and beyond the scope and asked and answered.
Overruled.
No, I do not agree with that statement.
Thank you. Nothing.
Okay.
I'm going to object and move to strike it because of the reasons we broached at sidebar. Because
Overruled. It'll stand. So that's for argument, counsel. All right. Let's move on. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
While we're getting that witness, let's have one question. All right, counsel, who's questioning?
I
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to play a tape for you right now.
How long's the tape?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
Let's see. Your Honor, I have another photograph showing defendant Pursehouse. It's a DMV photograph. Would this be marked people's next in order?
105.
105. Do you recognize? Oh. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
Okay, so at some point on February 15, 2020, did you receive information from individuals that led you to want to arrest Gareth Pursehouse?
Yes.
Overruled. Overruled.
Yes.
I mean, based on the information you received, did you undertake subsequent conduct?
Yes.
Okay, overruled.
And was part of that conduct to obtain his DMV photo?
Yes.
And is this document his DMV photo with his DMV information?
Yes, it is.
And on his DMV information, you have a fingerprint, signature, as shown on People's 105.
Yes.
And do you have an address?
Yes.
And is that 8148 Cabora Drive, Playa del Rey?
Yes, it is.
And does it also have his height and weight?
It does.
And is that height of 6'4" and weight of 230 pounds?
Yes.
And is the issue date for this on July 3rd, 2019?
Yes.
And was this photograph used to provide to other detectives if they were to arrest the defendant, they would know who to look for?
Objection leading.
The state.
What was the photograph going to be used for?
It used to help identify the suspect.
Now, we were talking also about how you sent items to the FBI to be analyzed. The syringe, property item number 21, and when they send it back, I don't know if you finished describing, when they send it back, after they've opened the syringe and they send it back to you, what do you do with it?
Once I've received it back, then I have to repackage and rebook it, but under a new item number since it had been out of our custody, our care and control.
So it's no longer property item number 21.
Correct.
Did it become property item number 65?
Objection leading.
Overruled on that foundation.
Yes.
Okay. Looking here at photographs A through H showing number 65, may this be marked people's next in order number 106.
Yes.
Right. Is this, do you recognize what's shown here on photograph A?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
So this is a analyzed evidence envelope. It's marked number 65, has the name Harwick Amie. It also has my name and my serial number.
Okay. And just for the jury's edification, the numbers written here, 106, PI 21, and A, those I've written those. Those were not part of the photograph, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's not me.
And looking here at photograph B, does this show what's inside the envelope for? Let me see. the envelope that was marked 65.
Yes.
And it also shows another envelope in there with a 21.
Yes.
Okay, and it shows something in a like a test tube. Is that correct?
Yes, it has a tube with a stopper on it so it won't fall out.
And photograph C, is that a close-up of that?
Yes.
And photograph D, is that a close-up showing some markings on that glass cylinder,
Yes.
including photo ID number 18?
Yes.
And that's the photo ID when you see the syringe out on the balcony.
Yes.
And photo E is another photograph with a ruler next to it.
Yes.
And what's the purpose of that?
Just gives you a scale, a measure of what it is, how big it is. So when you're looking at it in the photograph, you have some kind of idea of the size.
And photograph F, that's another close-up with markings on the tube,
Yes.
including the DR number 2006-06220.
Yes.
That's your case number.
Yes, it is.
Photograph G is just another close-up.
Yes, it is.
And photograph H is this one of the vials that was returned to you from Dr. Brown after Dr. Bradley analyzed the syringe and created a smaller vial?
It is.
Hold on.
It is.
And that's the vial has a 22095, and you can see up here 954 number 1.
Yes.
How about the syringe that was found at defendant Purshouse's residence? Did you send that to the FBI to be analyzed?
Yes.
Okay, and did they return some results for you?
I believe they did. Yes.
But nothing was found in that syringe.
Correct.
Of value.
Correct.
And did they return that syringe back to you?
Yes.
Okay, and did that have to be rebooked into evidence?
Yes, it did.
Your Honor, I have photograph A through F for the property item number 67. May this be marked equals 107.
Yes.
In that photograph A of 107, can you tell us what is shown here?
This is two analyzed envelopes of the LAPD. One is marked with number 67 on the left.
Okay. Photograph B, is this some of the contents from that envelope?
Yes.
It now has an item number 2 on there, is that correct?
Yes, but that sticker, that's not my doing.
That's a sticker that was there after the FBI returned it to you.
Yes.
I mean, it was there. It wasn't there when you sent it to him, was it?
No.
And it was there when you got it back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that sticker has a number of 20200954, number 2.
Yes.
Photograph C, is that a close-up of what was inside that tube?
Yes.
And does that appear to be the same syringe with yellow liquid that was sent to the FBI?
Yes.
Photograph D, is that a close-up of that?
Yes.
And photograph E, is that a close-up showing the XL brand label on it?
Yes.
And lastly, photograph F, is that a photograph showing the measurements of how much this syringe may contain?
Yes.
Now, did you conduct interviews in this case?
I did.
Did you interview Michael Herman, who was there at the residence on February 15, 2020?
Yes, I did.
Now, this is important. Your first initial interview with Michael Herman, was it recorded?
On Officer Body Worn.
Okay. How about you? Did you later on separately interview him?
Yes.
Did you videotape that interview?
Yes.
Did you interview Sarah Rollins on February 16, 2020, the very next day?
Yes.
Did you record that initial interview?
Yes, I did.
And why is that important to record that initial interview?
Well, we want to capture what the person, the witness, or whoever it may be, what they say in their words, so there's no ambiguity as to what they said. We can always refer back to the recording and see what exactly was said.
Now, just going back to February 15, 2020, after all this evidence is collected, were you able to collect the ring videos on February 15, 2020?
Yes.
So on February 15, 2020, at about what time did you get to see the ring videos from the neighbor's house?
Objection, foundation.
Well, he said, what time did you get to see it? That's not what's the foundation part of
How
it.
the ring? Did he personally collect?
Yeah,
the
did you go there?
I did not personally collect the video. Other detectives did.
Wait, I'm not asking that.
Oh, your question was?
I'm asking, did you see some ring videos from the neighbor's house at some point on February 15, 2020?
And his objection was foundation, and that how does he know it was from the neighbor's house?
Okay.
Getting collected. Was that your?
Yes, exactly.
Well, as the investigating officer on this case, was evidence provided to you?
Yes.
And did you have detectives obtain the ring videos from the neighbor's house?
Objection, hearsay, foundation.
Overruled.
You can answer that.
Yes.
Okay, and so that was provided to you.
Yes.
And did you get to see the ring videos?
Yes.
At about what time on February 15, 2020 did you get to see the ring videos? Approximately.
Sometime midday.
What does midday mean? Like 12 p.m., 2 p.m.?
So somewhere between, let's say, 11 and 1.
1 p.m.
1 p.m. Yes, sir.
And did you have the defendant's DMV photo at that time?
No.
At that time, had you interviewed Michael Herman?
Yes.
And had Michael Herman, had he directed you and indicated that you should look into a particular individual?
Objection, hearsay, relevance.
Well, it isn't hearsay because it's not hearsay if did you undertake subsequent conduct once Mr. Herman gave you that advice?
Yes.
Okay, it's not hearsay. Overruled.
And did that assist you in looking into particular suspects?
Yes.
And which suspect was that?
Gareth Pursehouse.
And so, were you able to look at the body-worn video where Michael Herman makes statements there at the location when police officers first arrived?
Yes.
And you also interviewed him at the scene at 2886 Mount Street on February 15, 2020.
Yes.
And then was he taken to the police station?
To Hollywood Station for a further interview. Yes.
And was that first interview with him conducted at 8:25 in the morning?
Yes.
And was that videotaped?
Yes, it was.
Did you also have photographs taken of his injuries?
Yes, we did. I did.
And did he have some injuries to his body?
Yes, he did.
During your interview at 8:25 in the morning, I have one moment now.
Yes.
During that interview, did Mr. Michael Herman indicate to you that his roommate was attacked, that she was screaming, that she was thrown to the ground?
Yes.
Objection, hearsay.
Prior consistent, I take
Yes.
it. Yes, all right, overruled.
And did he say that right away towards the beginning of the interview?
I believe so, yes.
And just to stay with Mr. Michael Herman, did he call you about 5 days later and leave a voicemail message for you?
Yes, he did.
And do you remember what he indicated in that voicemail message to you?
Basically, yes.
What did he say?
That he had been thinking about things and thought he'd had developed some more insight into what had happened.
And what else did he say in that voicemail message? You didn't memorize the voicemail message?
No, I did not.
Would looking at the report help you refresh your recollection?
It may.
May I approach you on it?
Yes.
Looking at bait stamp page 3490 for council's benefit.
Yes, I remember this.
Okay, does that help you remember?
Yes, it does.
Right, so what did he say? What information did he leave on your voicemail 5 days after February 15, 2020?
That he remembered being awakened by the sound of something crashing or breaking, and that he remembered that now.
All right, we're going to go ahead and take a break, ladies and gentlemen, at this time. Be back at 1:40, not 1:30, please. We'll see you. Have a good lunch. Thank you.
More of the trial of the Hollywood sex therapist killer is on the way. Press subscribe now so you don't miss a moment of this riveting courtroom drama as we seek justice for Dr. Amie Harwick.